What's up, fitness family? This is your host, Adrian Conway. Welcome to another episode of the True Fitness Podcast. The idea behind this podcast is to bring you guys value in regards to your mindset, your nutrition practices, and of course, your training. Visit ttrufitness.com for 7 days off or 7 days free of our all access, which is clearly an offer that gives you access to every single live program that we have, from True Aesthetics to True Strength, True Endurance, True Competitor Pro, and True Gymnastics, as well as a couple others that I'm forgetting to mention. True 30 and True 60, of course. That's our True Life package. But nonetheless, regardless of who you are, there's something there for you. I wanted to jump in. I'm still going through some questions, and of course, they'll periodically pop up. So, folks, please reach out with your questions. This is the foundation of this episode, is that I'm interacting with some of the audience here from YouTube. What advice would you give to help gyms manage the elite versus everyday class athlete? Environment / avoid a them versus us mentality within our community. This is from @_Hannah B. Han B. Great question. And I think this is something that pops up continually within our framework of CrossFit affiliates. I think this is something that used to be more of a concern and used to be more of an issue, even back in the 2011 through 2017, 2018, 19 timeframe, when competitors were coming from more within the source of affiliates. And what I mean by that is that a lot of times people would walk into your gym, people would walk into your CrossFit affiliate, they'd start CrossFit, they would show an ability and a capacity that was unique among the group of peers that they had. And so they would elevate to a competitor. And as they elevated to a competitor, they would need a little bit different programming and training. They might make it to regionals, at the time is what it was called, or sectionals and regionals, and then sanctionals eventually. Um, and as they did that, there might become a discrepancy. So anyone that doesn't understand the premise of this question, you're like, hey, I've got a great community. Hey, the competitors are great at my community. Well, I want to tell you that that wasn't always the case. There was not always this synonymous perspective of coexistence with high performers and competitive based CrossFit athletes and the everyday athlete that just simply shows up for an hour to make that the best hour of their day, to get in their movement, to get in some intensity, to breathe, to sweat, to learn more about nutrition practices, etc. All the wonderful things that should encompass a CrossFit experience. Not always was this the case. In fact, during that time that I related to earlier, the 2011 through the 2019 era is what we'll call it. Of course, the biggest boom and biggest growth of CrossFit, to the masses, within our community, all the stuff. It was a wonderful time to be a part of it. I hope that we can get back there. But during this time, there were these branches that would be created within an affiliate. And it was pretty common if you had an identity of going to what's called a competitive affiliate, where you were notoriously sending teams to the CrossFit games or individuals to the regionals. What might happen is there become dissensions within the community. These dissensions would involve, a group of competitors that might be training on the side of your affiliate, doing a unique program that either the gym owner or an outside source programmed for them. And a lot of times members might look at that group and say, hey, why am I not doing what they're doing? Hey, why, or do they not do the class workout? Hey, why? Right? Which is a common concern. Now, to many members in a CrossFit gym, that would be a no concern. Like, they're there to get their exercise in. They don't actually care what other people are doing. But to some people, and yes, there are some people, I'm not even going to say few, but it's some that are very particular in the way that they're treated versus the way someone else is treated. Now, I'm going to give you guys a life lesson. I, fortunately enough, grew up in this world as perceived as an African American man. I have brown skin, right? Well, my skin turns out it's pretty light brown, and it's because I'm actually half white. I went through different forms of identity crisis throughout my life, and not in a bad way, but in a great way. In such a way that I learned lessons early on that I was unlike anyone else. When I hung out with all my black friends, I was a lighter version of them. When I hung out with all my white friends, I was a brown version of them. But I didn't really felt like I would necessarily was an outlier all the way when I was there, but I never also felt like I belonged all the way. I share all of this to say that what a unique circumstance for me coming up to have to understand immediately that not all people are treated the same, nor should they be, right? Should all people be treated justly? Yes, but will they all be treated equally? No, because that's human nature. And I learned this at a young age, and I wish that some of you would learn this even at your old, ripe age, so that you could set aside some of these foolish pursuits and concerns that you may have. Let's go back to the matter at hand. Competitors versus non-competitors at a CrossFit gym. Should they be treated equally? I don't know. And here's why. Because competitors typically need a little bit more attention because they're getting more assistance with their training. They're doing X, Y, or Z. And I don't mean that they need more attention because they actually deserve more attention. It just means that they're typically the louder people in the room. They're typically the squeakier wheel when it comes to needing assistance or needing uh, aid, right? The everyday members deserve just as much attention, but not often are they as squeaky of a wheel. They come in, they do their workout, they're having a good time. The ability for our general GPP programming to make them better is pretty easy because a lot of times people with this very general or lack of experience when it comes to competitive background come in and start doing good programming. They just really see fruits and they can see fruits for a very long time because we're such generalists. So, yes, competitors might demand a little bit more control and oversight and help from the owner and the head coaches. You cannot ever let a regular member feel as though you pander to or put a competitive athlete on a higher pedestal than them. You can't ever do it. Now, here's the caveat. I've been a part of cultures where if you're a competitor and you take competitive classes, which means you do extra training, you have to pay more because you're at the gym longer, you use the equipment longer, you do things more, right? Like this, it's a natural understanding that if you're a competitor and you train twice a day, you should probably pay more than Lisa who comes in 3 times a week. Now we do have all access memberships. I'm not telling anyone to change their perception and how they run their business, but consider that because notoriously, here's what happens through those years of 2011 to 2019. What I would see where gyms would make this wrong is that they might give the competitor the free membership. Oh man, don't worry about it. You're really talented. You get the free membership. No, no, fam. You coming in and paying this membership just like everybody else. Otherwise, what happens? Word gets around. He got a free membership because he's a good athlete. What you being a good athlete do for the rest of my members? Not a mother freaking thing. Not one. You might inspire them with how you perform, but they also might be annoyed because you're such a douchebag and you take working out so seriously. I don't know. Right? Because I think there's a fine balance there with all these things that we can talk about. Competitors are so inspiring and all this stuff. They're working out for time and they take it seriously like it's their livelihood. And if it turns into their livelihood, amen. And that's so awesome because they can get sponsors and maybe they have that kind of following on social media. It's awesome. But let's not get beside ourselves. It is working out, folks. You're trying to see how much you can lift and if you can lift more than someone else and if you can do burpees better than someone else. How cool. Now, I can poke fun at that because I make a living around helping people do this stuff better. I can poke fun at that because I've been to the CrossFit Games. I've given my all to be one of the fittest on earth several times, but it's complicated. And hand B, I know I'm not giving you a direct answer here on how to manage this, but the bottom line is that it's because the lesson is so concise and so simple. Treat everyone as equals. Let everyone know with maturity and from proper perspective that, hey, Adrian is training for human dominance and you are simply training for life capacity. You're trying to enhance the quality of your life. And I got another client over here that's trying to dominate humans. That's the difference. So if they're doing extra programming or if they do double days or if their nutrition looks different and they have to eat gummy bears, well, you should deal with adults in the way that they should be dealt with, like by directly talking to them and saying, hey, guess what, Richard? I'm going to smack that Twizzlers out of your hand if you think you're getting post-workout carbohydrates from that processed junk in here. And then he's going to be like, yeah, but look at Mike in the corner. Mike's always eating his gummy bears. And like, sir, Mike is 5% body fat. He trains multiple times a day. And in case you can't see, he's way fitter than you. His metabolism is designed and gives him huge advantage in the sport that he plays. And his nutrition is the foundation of his performance. So guess what? He's got to fuel accordingly. Sir, you work a desk job. You sit down for 6 to 8 hours consecutively in a day. You come here for 1 hour a day, 5 to 6 days a week. You are not the same as this is the way that I like to address people because I think people, again, are confused that I'm no different than them. They're no different than me. We should be treated the same. We should not be treated the same. We should be treated fairly to each and own individually, but we're never going to be treated the same. So this is the basis for the conversation. I wanted to keep this short, about 10 minutes. So hopefully I answered your question. I'm always up for a good rant. I hit a really hard workout today. So maybe I'm giving off the vibes in which I put myself through in the compound today. Don't worry, the workout will appear on True Life / True 60 in the training app, and it might even make an appearance on True Endurance. So if you're following any of those tracks, by the way, Hand B, reach out if I didn't answer your question. I'll do my best to give you some logisticals and applications to how to structure this in the gym or how to apply it. But it should be simple. Like, treat people with honesty, have the honest conversation about them. We don't all have the same goals, so we shouldn't all train the same. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. If the athletes think they're better than anyone else, get them out now. Get them out like yesterday. And I mean that. If there's competitive athletes and they're showing any kind of attitude, because those are the people that need to be the most humble. Those are the people with the highest capacity that have the greatest responsibility to not be douchebags and not be losers and treat people better than they want to be treated. I'll stop the rant. You guys need to check out True Endurance, TTRU Endurance, one of our tracks. We now offer 18 workouts a week on that plan. It is 3 days a week, and there are 6 variations of training options for you. So let's use examples. If you want to do an aerobic running workout, there's an aerobic running workout. There's an anaerobic running workout. There's an anaerobic mixed modal workout. There's an aerobic mixed modal workout. And then, of course, we've got an aerobic version of mixed ergs and an anaerobic version of mixed ergs. The root of the change to this programming is that we've got people that have very different views, or I'm sorry, very different goals. We've got people that are coming in that want to do high rock style training and they need guidance, but they want it still CrossFit style. They want some variance. So all of our progressions aren't necessarily linear unless we're in a 6-week block where maybe we're training the aerobic running group to get ready for a 10K for time, or perhaps we're training the anaerobic running group to get ready for a 400-meter time trial. We'll even dip and dab with the mixed modal anaerobic and aerobic different benchmark workouts. For example, an anaerobic mixed modal workout that you might see a progression for is old school Fran. And then an aerobic mixed modal conditioning piece that you might see people picked for is something more along the lines of Fight Gone Bad. So we have fun with it. You can dabble in it. I would suggest that you use this link in the corner if you're watching this on YouTube, and of course get 7 days free of all access. So then you get to choose what you're feeling like on the day, or you get a taste of everything, and then you can purchase that single-handed program in itself and just become a live member month in and month out with us at True Fitness. But I hope that answered your question. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Keep rising.